Идет, идет, идет. Сейчас. Давай, малыш. Малыш, красавчик. Умничка какой. Хороший мальчик, хороший.
According to latest informations, Ukrainian armed forces have taken control of Demidivka in Russia's Belgorod Oblast. Russian military channels were in frenzy in the last few days about Ukrainian attacks in Belgorod. The analysts at the Institute for the Study of War also says that Ukrainian troops have made modest gains in the western part of Russia's Belgorod Oblast. Analysts citing Russian military sources reported on March 20th that Ukrainian forces were making advances southwest of Demidivka, located northwest of Belgorod, along the international border. Russian sources indicated that small groups of Ukrainian infantry were attacking near Demidivka, Grafivka, southeast of Demidivka, and Pralishya. Meanwhile, the report noted that Russian forces had made advances in northern Sumy Oblast. On March 21st, Russian troops continued their assault on Basivka, northeast of Sumy. A Russian military blogger reported that Ukrainian troops were counterattacking near Yunkivka, south of Basivka, the report stated. Before that, President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia was amassing troops in the Sumy area, aiming to push Ukrainian forces out of Kursk Oblast. The Institute for the Study of War reported that Ukrainian forces had recently advanced into Belgorod Oblast of Russia, though it was unclear if they were still holding those positions. Vadim Misnik, spokesman for the operational tactical grouping of troops in Siversk, said that a significant number of Russian units that had previously been deployed in Kursk Oblast were now advancing toward the border near Sumy. Russian Z channels keep confirming the capture of Demidivka in Belgorod Oblast by Ukrainian forces, and now whining that their troops just up and left, letting Ukrainian fighters advance. A comrade brought food to a chained Russian soldier. This is just another confirmation regarding the widespread torture in the Russian army. Russian commanders punish their own troops with abuse, such as being held in basement pit prisons for disobedience or simply for stealing their money. Ukrainian fighters spotted a 122mm D-30 howitzer of the Russian boys and destroyed its ammo with precise strikes. The howitzer survived, but it's sporting some fresh holes now.
Вот они, боеприпасы догорают. Там все раскидало, боеприпасы. Здесь они догорают. В орудии вот дыра, прям дыра. Сплавило все. Здесь все порвало. Так что снаряды, вон они прям все погребки все разбубенило.
There's no longer a question Russia has fully captured the American presidency. This is absolutely insane.
In the second visit that I had, it got personal. The President Putin had commissioned a beautiful portrait of President Trump from the leading Russian artist and actually gave it to me and asked me to take it home to President Trump, which I brought home and delivered to him. It's been reported in the paper, but it was such a gracious moment, and told me a story, Tucker, about how when the president was shot, he went to his local church and met with his priest and prayed for the president, not because he was the president of he could become the president of the United States, but because he had a friendship with him and he was praying for his friend. It was, can you imagine sitting there and listening to these kind of conversations? And I came home and delivered that message to our president and delivered the painting, and he was clearly touched by it. So this is the kind of connection that we've been able to reestablish through, by the way, a simple word called communication.
Voice of America's Ukrainian service employees working in the U.S. on work visas have been given 30 days to leave the country. Former VOA journalist Ostap Yarish said in an interview with Bihus Info. According to Yarish, some employees from authoritarian countries face criminal charges due to their work with Voice of America, making it unsafe for them to return home. For people from authoritarian countries, returning home is especially dangerous right now because they are seen as American agents, spies, or traitors who worked for the enemy, Yarish said. He added that some Radio Liberty journalists are in a similar situation. On March 14th, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order to eliminate 7 federal agencies deemed unnecessary. Among them is the U.S. Agency for Global Media, which oversees Radio Liberty and Voice of America projects. Shortly after, Voice of America staff in the U.S. received an email from Human Resources on March 15th, informing them they had been placed on paid administrative leave. Radio Free Europe Radio Liberty President and CEO Stephen Kappas confirmed that USAGM had informed RFE-RL of the termination of the federal grant that funded the media company's global operations. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said official Brussels would explore possible ways to support Radio Liberty journalists following the U.S. government's decision. That same day, Czech Foreign Minister Jan Lipovsky proposed that the European Union consider purchasing Radio Liberty. Later, Detector Media reported, citing informed sources, that the Ukrainian service of Radio Liberty continues to operate despite the funding cutoff from the U.S. government. However, the available funds are only sufficient to continue operations and pay salaries until the end of March 2025. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier signed a law on March 22, 2025, allocating significant investments in defense, infrastructure, and cybersecurity, including €3 billion, $3.24 billion, in military aid for Ukraine, NTV reports on March 22nd. A newly signed law in Germany effectively eliminates the debt brake and is set to be published in the Federal Law Gazette. Under the new regulations, defense, intelligence, and cybersecurity spending exceeding 1% of GDP will be exempt from debt restrictions, enabling an additional €3 billion to be allocated for Ukraine's support. The law also includes provisions for €500 billion, $535 billion, in infrastructure investments over the next 12 years. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha, writing on X, said Kyiv was grateful for the assistance, which he said would strengthen defense and other related capabilities. German weapons have already saved thousands upon thousands of Ukrainian lives. They will save even more in the current and coming years, Sybiha wrote.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.